Listen, they don't flinch, they don't stammer, they don't betray even the slightest hint of awareness. Because that's the game. If they can pretend nothing has changed, maybe, just maybe, you'll start to question if anything ever did. It begins subtly. The same smile, the same greetings, the same effortless charm. But you feel it, don't you? The weight in the air, the carefully measured glances, a conversation that lingers half a second too long, like they're studying you, calculating whether you still see them for what they truly are. And when you say nothing, when you don't confront them, they know they have an opening. They will test you, just to see how much you've figured out. A joke with an edge, a question that seems innocent but presses too deeply. They are not asking for information. They are measuring your reaction. If you hesitate, if you falter, even for a moment, they will know they still have a hold over you. And if you don't, well, then the game evolves. They thrive in uncertainty, so they manufacture it. At first, it's small. A conversation you could swear happened a certain way, but suddenly they recall it differently. A promise made, now twisted, reshaped, like it never existed. You find yourself replaying moments in your mind, trying to separate truth from illusion, reality from manipulation, and then the real trick begins. The whispers, not shouted, not declared, but placed, planted, like a single drop of ink in clear water, spreading, shifting, distorting. They don't need to accuse you directly, no, that would be too obvious. Instead, they plant ideas in the minds of others. Little doubts, casual remarks, carefully chosen words spoken in confidence. Except confidence to them is just another tool. I don't know, something seems off lately. Have you noticed they've been acting differently? I could be wrong, but they seem unstable. It's never an outright lie. That would be too easy to disprove. No, it's something worse. An almost truth. A distortion. They know perception is more powerful than facts. They don't need to destroy your credibility in a single blow. They only need to chip away at it, one whisper at a time. And you feel it happening. The shift. The way people begin to look at you, not with accusation, not yet, but with something softer. Concern. Doubt. The kind that makes them hesitate before believing you. The kind that makes them second-guess your version of events. You see it in their eyes when you speak. You hear it in the way they respond. Hesitant, guarded, like they've heard something. Like they're no longer entirely sure what to believe. And that's when the real damage is done. Because the moment you try to fight it, you fall into the trap. Defend yourself too strongly and you seem paranoid. Call it out directly and you sound unstable. Their hands are clean, their voice measured, their words carefully chosen. I never said that. That's not what I meant. You're taking this the wrong way. And suddenly, you are the problem. Not them, not their deceit, not their manipulation. You. Because the moment you start trying to prove you're not what they claim, you've already lost. The more you insist, the more it looks like you have something to hide. The more you push back, the more they can step back, hands raised, voice soft, playing the victim to a crime they themselves committed. It's a slow suffocation, a slow erasure, not an attack, but an unraveling of your words, your trust, your very sense of reality. And by the time you finally understand the game, by the time you see the full picture, it's already too late. Because the truth no longer matters. Only perception does. And they've already rewritten yours. It comes suddenly, without warning. The warmth returns. The smiles, the concern, the soft-spoken reassurances, as if none of it ever happened, as if the knife was never in your back, as if the words that poisoned your name were never uttered. And for a moment, just a moment, you hesitate, because that's what they're counting on. They know you've seen them for what they are, and yet, here they stand, offering an outstretched hand, an olive branch, a moment of kindness, wrapped so carefully in familiarity that you can almost believe it's real. But it isn't, is it? No, it never was. This isn't kindness. It's a leash. A carefully constructed performance tailored just for you. They know exactly what to say, precisely how to smile, and when to offer just enough warmth to make you question yourself. They don't beg, they don't plead. That would be too desperate, too obvious. No, they do something far more dangerous. They make you doubt your own memory. Did you really see what you thought you saw? Was it really as sinister as it seemed? Maybe, just maybe, you overreacted. Maybe you misjudged them. It would be easier, wouldn't it, to believe that they never meant any harm, that the coldness you felt, the whispers behind your back, the careful dismantling of your credibility, none of it was real. And just like that, the door opens. A moment of hesitation, and they step back in, seamlessly, effortlessly, as if they never left at all. Because that's the beauty of their game. They don't just fool others, they fool you. They lull you back into trust, only to make sure that when the blade comes next time, you won't see it coming. And yet, the real trick isn't in their kindness. No, it's in what comes next. Because if you don't accept it, if you resist, if you pull away, if you refuse to let them weave their way back into your life, then the mask falls. The warmth vanishes, the smile fades, and something else replaces it. Something colder, sharper. And suddenly, you're no longer being pulled in, you're being pushed out. Not with force, not with direct confrontation. That would be too easy, too crude. No, they do something far worse. They isolate you. It starts in whispers, in glances exchanged just as you enter a room. Conversations stop just a second too soon. Laughter dies before you reach the table. And then, slowly, methodically, the distance grows. People stop responding as quickly, invitations become rarer, messages go unanswered, just long enough to make you wonder if you're imagining things. And you tell yourself it's nothing, that you're overthinking, that surely people wouldn't just pull away for no reason. But it's not for no reason. It's orchestrated, designed, because when the moment finally comes, when you realize you're standing alone in a room full of people who once called you a friend, it's already too late. And then, as if to twist the knife just a little deeper, they return. Just for a moment, just long enough to make sure you feel the weight of what's happened. A passing remark, a casual reminder that they're still at the center of it all, that you are the one on the outside now, that you lost. And the worst part? They never needed to raise their voice, never needed to shout, to accuse, to attack. All they had to do was make you doubt yourself. Because once you did that, once you let them pull you back in, once you let them push you away, they never had to touch you at all. It happened so effortlessly, so delicately, that you don't even realize the game has begun. A conversation here, a suggestion there, nothing outright. Just a carefully placed remark, a raised eyebrow at just the right moment. They don't accuse, they imply. They don't fight, they guide. Because the best traps aren't the ones that force you in. They're the ones that make you step forward willingly. And they know you will, because you see them, you know what they are, and that is exactly what makes you dangerous. So they do what they do best. They wait. They let the tension build, let the silence weigh on you. You feel it. The way eyes shift when you speak, the subtle hesitation in people's voices when they address you. Something has changed, but no one will say it outright. And that is the trap. Because now you want to know what's happening. Now you start asking questions, looking for answers, trying to understand why the air has shifted. And the more you search, the worse it gets. Because that's the beauty of it. The moment you react, the moment you push back, the moment you try to unravel the lie, you become exactly what they've been shaping you into. Aggressive, paranoid, unstable. And when the moment comes, when you finally confront them, when you demand answers, when the pressure becomes too much, that's when they deliver the final touch. Calmly, softly, as if they are the victim here. Why are you so upset? I think you're overreacting. You've been acting strange lately, and suddenly you feel it. The shift, the tightening walls. They don't have to prove anything anymore. The room is already watching. The weight of every little doubt they planted has taken root. They don't need to say it out loud. Everyone else is already thinking it. And just like that, you are exactly what they wanted you to be. Because they understand something most don't. People don't follow truth, they follow perception. And perception is a fragile thing. A single doubt, a single whisper, a well-timed pause in a conversation. That's all it takes. They don't need to convince the world that you're the villain. They just need to make people wonder if you might be. And that is where they excel. It starts with small things, barely noticeable. A story retold with a different shade of meaning. A detail left out. Another added in. Nothing big enough to be called a lie, just an adjustment. Someone who once trusted you now hesitates. Someone who once confided in you now looks away. And they watch it happen. They don't force it, they don't push, they just let it grow. Because they know something you don't. It doesn't matter how strong you are, it doesn't matter how much truth you hold. Once enough people start questioning you, once enough people hesitate before they take your side, you are alone. And the worst part? They never had to raise their voice. Never had to argue, never had to fight. All they had to do was let you destroy yourself. They don't strike first. No, that would be too easy, too obvious. Instead, they wait. They study. They learn exactly what makes you tick, what makes your blood heat, what makes your breath catch in your throat. And when the moment is right, when the room is watching, when the walls have been set just so, they act. not with fury, not with aggression. No, their weapon is far more precise. A single remark, just soft enough to pass as harmless, but laced with enough venom to seep under your skin. A question that isn't really a question. A joke that lingers too long. A comment that strips away a little of your dignity, just enough to make you feel it. They want a reaction. They need it, because the game is not about harming you. No. It's about making you react in a way that allows them to step back, tilt their head, and whisper to the world, "See? Look how unhinged they are." And you fall for it, don't you? How could you not? You defend yourself, your voice sharpens, your body tenses, you push back, just as they knew you would. And then, like clockwork, they withdraw. Soft hands raised in mock surrender, a sigh heavy with disappointment. A calm, level gaze that makes you look wild in contrast. "I was just joking. You're being too sensitive. I don't understand why you're so upset." And now, the eyes in the room turn toward you. The eyes in the room turn toward you. Watching. Judging. Suddenly, you are no longer the one being attacked. You are the aggressor, the irrational one, the one who always takes things too far. And they are the victim. The careful manipulation, the slow erosion of your patience, the deliberate nudging toward the edge. It is all invisible now. All that remains is your reaction. The explosion they spent so much time crafting. And when the dust settles, they say nothing. Because silence is their greatest weapon of all. At first it is subtle, a delay in their response, a message read but not answered, a glance held just a little too long before they look away. And you feel it, don't you? The absence of something that was once there. Then the silence grows. Conversations that used to flow now feel strained. Spaces that once welcomed you now feel cold. The world shifts just slightly, just enough to make you wonder if you're imagining it. You reach out. No answer. You ask a question. Polite nods. Empty words. They are not angry, no. Anger is too human, too real. What they offer is worse. Indifference. And that is the moment you begin to feel it. The doubt. The sinking realization that no matter what you say, no matter what truth you hold, they have already won. Because silence is not just the absence of sound. It is control. It is a weight pressing down on you, forcing you to question yourself, forcing you to wonder if you are the one who did something wrong. And they watch, they wait, they let the silence consume you, until, finally, you break. And the moment you do, the cycle begins again. They are patient. That is what makes them truly dangerous. Most people, when they want something, when they want to hurt, to strike, to win, they act. They speak, they push, they demand. But not them. No. They understand something most never will. Time itself can be a weapon, and silence can be a noose. So they wait, not with urgency, not with restlessness. They wait like a shadow stretching as the sun sets. slowly, inevitably, with purpose. They know you see them, they know you know, but they do not rush. They do not need to, because they understand something far deeper than mere confrontation. The mind is its own worst enemy, and so they plant a single seed, just one, a moment, a word, a glance, barely noticeable, almost insignificant, and then nothing. They do not chase you, they do not argue, they do not defend or attack. They step back and let time do what time does best. And at first you are certain, you saw it, you felt it, you know what they are. But then the silence stretches, no response, no reaction, as if nothing ever happened, as if the ground beneath you was never shifting. And you start to wonder, just for a moment, if, perhaps, maybe, you were wrong. Because that's the game. Doubt doesn't come in a single wave. No, it drips, slowly, methodically, eroding the foundation of certainty piece by piece. They do not have to fight you. They do not have to prove anything. They only have to wait for you to question yourself. And you will, because the mind cannot stand the unknown. It fills in the blanks. It twists in the silence, searching for something to hold on to. And that is when the real trick unfolds. You start remembering differently. At first it's small. A detail shifts. A word changes. Perhaps it wasn't as clear as you thought. Perhaps they weren't as deliberate. Perhaps, just perhaps, you misread the situation. And that is when you feel it. The hesitation, the first crack in the certainty you once held. And they see it. They do not smile. They do not gloat. That is not their way. They simply let it happen. Let you unravel yourself. Let you sink into your own uncertainty. Let you tie the knots that will hold you in place. Because that is their victory. Not in proving you wrong. Not in breaking you down by force. No, that would be too obvious, too crude. Their victory lies in making sure that when you look in the mirror, you no longer see someone who knows the truth. You see someone who wonders. And once that happens, once that door is open, once doubt has nestled itself into the cracks of your mind, they have already won. Because there is no need to defeat you when you will do it yourself. And so the game is played, not in the open, not with fists or fury, but in the quiet spaces between words, in the hesitation before a thought fully forms. They do not need to strike you down. They only need to step aside and let time, let doubt, let your own mind do the work for them. Because once they have planted the seed, they know it will grow. You will question yourself. You will wonder if you are imagining things, if the weight pressing down on you is real or just the product of your own paranoia. And that is the beauty of their cruelty. By the time you realize what has been done, you are already standing alone. Because that was always the goal. Not destruction, not a grand display of power, but isolation. To turn your own voice against you, to make you second-guess the truth you once held so clearly in your hands. To make you stand in a room full of people and feel like a ghost. And when the final moment comes, when you break the silence, when you speak, when you try to pull everything back together, they will simply tilt their head, offer you a knowing smile, and let the world believe that they were never the ones who pulled the strings, because they never needed to fight you. They only needed to wait.